Okay, we're going to do a quick video here to show the improvement using our heat shield that we developed for the Intimidator GC1K. This is a GC1K Stage 2. It does have the ArmorTech cab on here, so we're going to try and create a controlled experiment here. What we're going to do is we're going to start this machine and basically just let it sit in idle, and you'll see we have an infrared camera here. What we're going to do is just look for the hot spots as it heats up and you start to see heat, we'll call it leaking out from the engine bay. And then we're going to do the same thing with the heat shield installed. So right now the heat shield that we developed is not installed. We're going to run this, we're going to idle it. We did already do the boot on the steering wheel cover, or on the steering wheel column. We do have our gasketing, or our cover on the shifter column, and then we did seal around the foot pedal as well. So from the front end of things, we're sealed up. Mainly we want to see the improvement on the back end of things. So we'll get her going and we'll show you the results. Okay, so we have our heat shield installed. So this actually installs up behind your seat buckles. So you gotta take a bolt and a nut off, tuck it up underneath, and then put your bolt back on. So it creates a barrier between the gap that's in the back of the seat. This is actually a pre-owned unit, so I'm getting some of this dust here from that, but that will prevent some of that from getting into your cab as well. And then I usually take a few trim screws and tack it up so it stays tight against, you'll see right there, sorry. So tack it up with a couple trim screws up into the back of the seat, and then there's Velcro along the edges, and then along the front, so you don't have to worry about it bunching up or clumping up when you are taking your seat on and off. There's oversized holes for your seat peg grommets, and then if you ever need to, when you need to access air cleaner, and things like that, it just unvelcros and rolls up the back. The other piece that I do is I pull out these plastic, there's these plastic trim buttons that go in here, and they really aren't doing a whole lot because this is bolted on. So all they're doing is preventing the seat from sitting flat on the front of the machine. So when I pull that off and then add this material, it's going to create a tight seal between the seat and the paneling there. The only piece that you have to do or treat if you really want good heat protection or mitigation is these cracks between here are still an opportunity. You can kind of see, that's not a good example, but on the other side, typically you can see into the engine bay through these cracks here. So I usually take some of this expanding foam weather seal and cut chunks and then just jam it in there, and that'll squish down to nothing, but it'll also expand to a gap that's up to 1 inch. So that works really good for taking care of some of those gaps, and some of these gaps down here. So we're gonna go ahead and do that, and then we're gonna run the same test and see the improvements on our infrared camera. Okay, we got our cracks filled. This foam is going to take a second to expand because it was a fresh roll, but it's pretty easy to throw in there, and then it will grow and fit in there pretty tightly. One other thing that you'll notice, I think, with this shield is it'll also help with some of the noise coming from the engine. Again, it's not going to turn it into a whisper quiet thing, but we're going to start it here and see if you can tell the difference on the camera. So you can hear there. So we're gonna go ahead and get the seat back on and let this thing warm up and see what we see with the infrared camera.